Changes in the polls about the California recall set for next week. Democrats now have a 2-to-1 advantage in that state, and Governor Gavin Newsom is counting on that margin to hold onto office. Republicans launched the recall campaign criticizing the governor's handling of the pandemic after he imposed restrictions on businesses and kept schools open, or I should say kept schools closed. On the final stretch of his Vote No tour, Governor Newsom is working to stir Democrats in the state into action. He says his plans are based on science and that failure to vote could lead to an anti-vax Republican governor. Gavin Newsom's on a crowded ballot, contending with an eclectic cast of more than 40 candidates. There are two votes. One, keep him or toss him. The other on who should replace him. But recent polls show the governor is holding his own. Here's CNBC's Scott Cohn.
It's the bluest of blue states, but Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom still finds his future on the line.
We just have to get out the vote.
It's not that there's some sort of Republican resurgence here, but early indications were that Democrats weren't that into Newsom. What Republicans lacked in numbers, the thinking went, they could make up in enthusiasm.
What Republicans were hoping for was that every Republican in the state was going to show up and Democrats would simply stay at home.
But with a week to go before the counting begins, it doesn't seem to be working out that way. 3 weeks since the start of mail-in voting, Democrats are turning out in droves, according to county election data analyzed by the nonpartisan firm L2, which estimates Democratic turnout outpacing Republicans by more than 2-to-1.
It seems to indicate that we're heading towards a Democratic victory.
There's more good news for Newsom in the latest poll, which says 58% of likely voters oppose the recall. Lots could change in the last week, but it's not clear they have the numbers to close the gap. Also not helping the GOP, the lack of a consensus candidate like Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2003. Leading the field of challengers is radio talk show host Larry Elder, whose far-right views on things like COVID restrictions and the minimum wage gave Newsom something to run against.
There are two really good indicators for Governor Newsom. One of them is that the polls are now shifting to his favor. That's in part because Larry Elder is a gift to him.
If these trends hold and Newsom survives, what happens next? Well, political analysts will be looking closely at his margin of victory. If it's convincing, this recall may actually turn out to have strengthened him. If not, he could be damaged goods when it comes to the regular election for governor, which is next year.